Hello YouTube, Chrome Freak here. Okay, between the part one where I disassembled the Masterpiece Arms 930, MPA 930, I'm sorry, and the reassembly right now has been a couple hours because the sunlight was just coming through all my windows and you just couldn't see. So I decided to let nature do its thing and then go ahead and start this. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and reassemble this pistol right now. Okay, the first thing that we're going to put back in is going to be the sear bar. This, by the way, looking at the parts list, is a trigger bar. It's part of the sear. I want so badly to call this the trigger bar, but they call this the sear and sear bar. And this would be the trigger bar right here, and it actually sits kind of like this inside of your pistol. So the first piece that's going to go back in is going to be the sear bar. And you'll see the little notches on the bottom. Those notches face down, and this is to the back of the gun, the front of the gun. There's two little alleyways that's going to have to go through. And to do that, you're going to have to actually put the back in first and lift up, raise all the way up to the top of the pistol to clear everything, and then push down and forward. And by pushing forward, it's going to take your sear bar way up here, and that's in the way. For right now. It's not in my way though, because you need to do that to get into the back of the pistol. In the back of the pistol, you're going to have, I'm going to call it the sear plate. And this is actually going to hold your springs. The springs go onto the back of this. Real quick, we're going to show you this. We'll take it out real fast. It's just like this. I'm sorry. Just like this, the way the pistol's sitting right now. And these two springs actually fit on like this. And they fit inside the sear plate like so. Exactly like this in your pistol. So what we got to do is we got to get, once again, we're going to get the sear bar in, put it into the top and the back first, push down in the front, let it go into two little channels that it's made to go in, and pull it all the way to give yourself some room to work. The next piece I'm going to put in is that sear plate. Now once again, it's got a long side and a short side. The long goes on the very top. That's actually where your slide sits on, rests on the top of that. And we're going to go ahead and put that in the back. And it rests all the way to the back of the pistol. Now the tricky part, getting these sear springs on just the way I showed you they go on before. I just let it fall in. I'll take one of them, let them fall down inside there. I'll take something like this tool here, which is like an O-ring type tool. It's got a 90 degree turn on it. You just kind of reach in there and you got to play with it. And it takes a little bit of finagling to get on there. I got one side on. Drop the other side in, and we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I wish you guys could see in here to see this, but I know there's no possible way you're going to see this. But if you need help and can't figure it out, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's not that difficult. And if you need help and you've lost your way, PM me, and I'll be more than happy to try to assist you any way I can in figuring out what's going on. Like I said, it takes a little bit of finagling, and there you go. Both of them are now on. So now what you want to do, you want to make sure that plate you put in is sitting true, and just push that back. Pushing that back with the springs up against that plate all the way to the back of the pistol. Okay, the next piece we're going to put in is we're going to go ahead and put that trigger bar in. And it's got a 45-degree cut on it, as you can see. So it's almost got like a smaller side, and the top of it is the longer part of it. So you want that 45-degree cut on the bottom. You're simply going to drop it in right there and push it all the way back till it has nowhere to go. Right there. It's going to fit underneath the arms of that sear bar. That's what them two grooves in the front were for. Okay, the next piece that's going to go in is going to be your trigger, which, by the way, in the disassembly vid, I must have called this trigger a hammer 20 times. You're simply going to drop it. It goes in front of that trigger bar. You're going to finagle it in, kind of like so. Then you're going to take your trigger pin. There it is. That's in. Now, the trick. Getting this back up and around and where it needs to be. Okay. Now, to get the safety in, we're going to have the same issue we just had, but in reverse. So, what I'm going to try to do is actually work with that little groove that's in the safety. It's going to be tough. It's really going to be tough, but I think we can do it. Because the safety's got that little handle on you. And there. And there it is. Okay, now I still got to get that spring back in, and what we're going to do is we're just going to force it in, and there it is. It's in. Okay, guys, I'm sorry about that. That was a little ridiculous in the amount of time that took to do that, but just bring it around to fire, and that's working. It's pushing. Okay, the next piece that's going to go back in, I'm sorry, we got to hurry. This is going to be the hammer. Okay, the face of your hammer obviously is right here. This little latch comes around back, forces the springs list on the bottom of the pistol, and it forces its way back. So you lay them springs in just like so. And you're going to take the pin, the hammer pin, and you're going to get it started. That's another thing, guys. Trying to work backward is so hard sometimes when you can't see what the heck you're doing. Now there's this little filler piece, little bushing, that's going to go in there. Now what I do is I take these bent needle nose and I hold it, and then you're going to have to get that on first. There it is, it's on. And then you got to get the hammer lined up and push that pin through, which is nowhere near as difficult as the trigger. Okay, we got that on. Now the little safety washer goes on and holds that into place, which I can almost push with my hand. As you can see, there's some scratches on this side of the pistol, and it's from this. You know, this is not a pistol. This is a pistol that I actually abuse. I don't want to say abuse, but I use a lot, and scratches really are not concerning me. Okay, I'm going to check it, fire. Lock it, hold your finger there so this hammer don't come around and slam into that mag well. Let it go. Let's try it on safety. Click over to safe. Let's lock it down. It's on safe, will not fire. Okay, so that's working. Put it back on fire, hold my finger there, trigger down. Okay, so basically the frame itself is back together. I'm sorry it took so long too, it really did. But you know what, I'm not gonna hide anything from you guys. It is what it is. We're sitting here using primitive tools without a table. So this is what you're gonna have to deal with, a lot of guys. Some guys are set up pretty nicely and some aren't. Okay, the plate and the buffer go on first. The big one goes obviously through the big hole. Small one through the small hole, and there's a cut in the buffer. You will see it. You just got to get it in there. All the way in, all the way in. And there's really nothing special here. This just sits right in the back. As you can see, there's nothing, no grooves or anything like that. The recoil spring slips onto the guide rod, like so. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to put it back into the bolt assembly. Actually, let's set this off to the side, and I'm going to put the bolt assembly back together again first. Okay, so the first piece we're going to stick back in is going to be the extractor. The extractor simply sits, you'll see inside of the little channel there where this spring right here kind of rests. And you get it in there and kind of push it back. And you can see by the front of the bolt right here also, you know, where your extractor goes. And it's as simple as that. But you're going to have some pressure down on this back to defeat the spring in the back to get it in. So this goes down on an angle. It goes in on an angle. And so what you're going to do is you're going to have to push it like so and see if we can't get it started. Okay, but it's not all the way. It is started, but it's not going through this side. So I'm going to take a punch, try to line it up a little bit better. And I can feel it in there. Let's try to get this in. Not a good hammer to use. I can find a better hammer to use. This is going to take a little bit to get it in there. It is under pressure with that spring. Well, I've never had so many issues and problems doing one pistol before. Okay, everything feels lined up. Feels good. And there it is. It went in. Okay, and And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my punch and I'm going to knock it down in there just a little bit further because I want it in there a little bit more than sticking out on the end. And this will probably be the last time I use that roll pin because it is starting to get a little marred up by me hammering on it. And there it is, it's pretty flush. It's all the way in, everything's good. Extractor, let's make sure the extractor is working properly. And I'm not going to be in a hurry here, guys. Okay, it's good. Okay, the next piece that's going to go back on is going to be the firing pin. First thing that goes in is going to be your spring. Just simply drop it into the hole, and you're going to see a notch, a groove in the firing pin itself. You just drop this in the hole too. And what you got is you got the hole in the front, the firing pin hole right here. And you'll see it. You're going to have to take a light and you're going to have to look down in there and you'll be able to see your firing pin. The other way because it might be a bigger hole. Okay, see where your hole is? And the U shape right here kind of has to line up just like that. And you'll have to push it in under spring tension to get that roll pin in. So I'm going to start the roll pin, grab the firing pin, and I'm going to knock the pin down in. Okay, that's in. I'm going to take my punch and I'm going to countersink the pin. And a lot of guys will bring it right on out to the top. I'll probably split the difference, is what I'll probably do. And a little bit more, and the difference will be split. There it is. That's the way I like it because it splits the difference. To me, it's in there perfectly. Okay, let's get these things out of the way. Okay, now the next thing that's going to go on is we're going to go ahead and put the recoil spring into the bolt itself. We're going to fit everything together. And it goes into the back. Into the back, and you'll see where both of these pins have to go in there. And what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to defeat that spring and hold it as you start that little tiny pin. So to do that, I'll start it like so, get this hole lined up, and just simply hold it down. Now this is a very small pin. You must be very careful with this one because this one will get lost and it'll get lost quick. I promise you it will. Okay, now this is where I'm going to take a pair of pliers. I'm going to get it in there just like so and get it started. And all you want to do is split the difference here once again. You want the same amount sticking out each side. And it's just a little retainer. That's all it's for. Let me have it a little bit smaller. And there it is. That's pretty much equal on both sides sticking out. Now you can let this go. And that is now back together. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the pistol itself, the frame, and what you need to do is you need to go ahead and cock it. It's cocked. And you're going to fit the bolt back in here. Everything's going to fit back together. Now to defeat that, you're going to have to play a little bit with it to get it in there. I just want to show it to you this way so you can see exactly what you're looking at as you try to put it in, because we're going to put it in a slide and then it's going to go on all together in one piece. But I want you to look back there. As you can see, I'm not sure if you could see it right now. If I could find my light, and here it is. And you can see what you're kind of looking at and say, oh, okay, I see how everything works. And you take it back out. Let's go ahead and put it into the frame now. And you're going to see exactly how it needs to fit on the frame too, because the extractor obviously goes out the ejection port. So it's going to slide in just like so. See how it works with the charging handle? And now you want to make sure this buffer is going to be able to fit back into the square on the back of the slide, like so. It don't have to be in there perfect. It could be even a little messed up like it is right now. It will straighten itself out back in the pistol. I promise you it will. Now it might take a little bit of finagling to get this in, because that's what I was trying to show you, how it all fits together. And there it is. It's slid together. And what I want to do is I want to kind of hold everything back, make sure we're cocked, put it on fire, and now you can safely pull the trigger. Let's do it again before I put the pin in. Yes, everything is working there. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to install the pin. It's the main keeper. And once again, you got to finagle. Everything is really tight on these little pistols here. They're well made. These things are built like a battle tank. I'm not kidding you. Okay, and this is your keeper pin. Simply goes in, pops in that side, and we are back together. Let's put it on safety. Actually, let's cock it and then put it on safety. Cock. Put it on safety. It will not fire. Put it on fire, and we're good to go. Now, if you'd like, you can go ahead and put this little protector back onto the hammer, or I just call the trigger a hammer again. What is it with me? I'm gonna tell you what, I've been working so many hours, guys, and I can tell you, I'm on medication, and I'm not talking bad stuff. I'm talking about medication for my heart and all that. And I don't know if forgetfulness and stuff like that is a side effect, but man, I have been having issues with names and forgetting stuff, and I am getting older. I just had a birthday here in November, just a few days ago, but I don't like the side effects of some of this medication, and unfortunately we have to have it to live. Anyway, guys, I love this pistol. It's a lot of fun. It's a blast. I'm sorry it took so long to get it back together, but sometimes the finagling and the stuff happening, it is what it is. So we're going to go ahead and end this video now. I want to thank everybody for subscribing to me. If anybody's got any questions that I could help you with, please don't hesitate to ask. God bless. Good night. Thank you, YouTube.